little second part to the video. Got your toilet cassette inside this locker just here. Zoom out a little bit. Toilet cassette in here. Try and keep on top of lubricating this little seal in here if you can with a little silicone-based lubricant. Just give it a little spray up every once in a while. Again, I know that you know this already, but you empty it out from here. And when you are emptying out, it's always a good idea to hold down the little yellow button at the back there. Bit of an air pressure release valve, basically. So, I'm showing you around the outside, so I'll jump inside now and show you what we got inside. So, your control panel sits above the door just here. So you've got a main on and off switch just up here on the top left, and straight away you'll notice the screen comes on and starts telling you things. If you click up here on the top right, it will flick through various bits and pieces. So leisure battery voltage, you know, all sorts of bits and pieces to do with timers and alarms and all that sort of stuff. Pump select, internal, you just leave it there on internal because you haven't got a external water filling point that needs power. So you can leave that on internal all the time. Leisure battery current, external temperature, wastewater level and your freshwater level. So you see there you've got 25% in the fresh tank, and then your vehicle battery level. So 12.5, very, very good voltage for a resting rate. There's no hookup plugged in or anything like that. So that is all good. Water pump switch. So you turn that on, then the pump comes on. First thing you want to do really is get rid of any sort of air that might be in the system, just quite literally just by pulling the water through. So I do actually think the water's a little bit low in the van, even though it says 25%, I think it is a little bit lower than that. So we haven't got proper full pressure here just yet. Fill the van up with a little bit more water, and then come to your tap basically, and then just make sure that your water comes through nice and clearly without all this kind of coughing and sputtering. Until it does come through like that, there's no way really of knowing that the boiler is completely full up. If you're doing it on the hot side and there's still air coming out, it usually means there's a little bit of air trapped inside your boiler. So you shouldn't really turn it on until you've gone through here and made sure it comes through nice and clean. But once you've done that, you can obviously then turn your pump switch off or just leave it on if it's not running on. But yeah, just make sure that you do that first. It's always good practice. Aux will do various bits and pieces. Probably will make your ignition switch work. You know, stuff like that really. There'll probably be a couple of lights and perhaps this 12-volt power just here. It might work on the aux switch up there, but it can be a little bit random to what actually it powers. But yeah, so first thing you want to come on really when you come into the van, just put the power switch on and the aux, and then you know you pretty much have power at everything then. The other one up here, you shouldn't really worry about that too much, because all that does really is switch which batteries are powering things in the back end of the vehicle. So at the moment, without that button being on, the leisure batteries down there in that near side locker is what's powering everything in the back of the vehicle. If you press that button on, it would basically then draw anything that is powered by 12-volt in the back end from your vehicle battery, which obviously then will end up draining out your vehicle battery and eventually stop you from starting it. So you don't really want to do that for any reason. But you know, that is there if you ever desperately needed some power and your leisure batteries were knackered. You could do that if you wanted to. Next to that, you've got Ultra Store on the left, so that's your boiler on gas. So if I show you how to use that, assuming you've taken off the little cowl cover on the outside, you can just literally turn it like that. Just heard it there straight away. Boiler's just down here, and I heard that light up straight away, so that's working really nicely. You can then set your temperature to whatever you want and wait about sort of half an hour or so for that to warm up. These two here, just lights, so they do the lights up the top here. And the one to the right there is your ultra heat, and so that is the 240 for your heating system down there. Right. So I'll turn the boiler off for now. Seeing as I don't actually need to get the water hot, I don't want to waste too much of your gas. So down here is your actual heating. In fact, I'll show you this stuff here first. I've taken all these cushions off, just so that I can show you what's down here really. So you've got these two isolators down here. These are gas isolators. To isolate them, all you have to do is turn them 90 degrees so they're facing flat rather than, you know, vertical. Once you've done that, you will then, you know, any gas going to whichever one of those two appliances will stop. So the one on the left, it's got a little tap with some hot water on it, so that's your boiler, and the one on the right is your heating. So if you thought you had a problem with either of those two things, you can isolate them from there. Water pump sits in here as well, and most importantly really is your boiler drain. So this little button down here, if you lifted that so it was vertical, all the water from inside the boiler would drain out. It's also something you can use to drain your water system out properly if you wanted to. So if you leave your pump on, when you lift this up, the pump should kick straight in and then just basically pump all the water through the system out through this drain here. So if you wanted to really get rid of all of it, you can do it like that. But you know, it's completely up to you how you want to do that. But that's your boiler drain just there. And also your 240 volt switch for your boiler. So if you had your hookup plugged in and you turn this switch on down here, your boiler, whichever, you know, whatever water's inside your boiler will get heated up via the electric element instead of gas. So make sure that you turn that off once you're finished with it, because if